And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. You bet. There's a good energy in the gym. We're present and accounted for. What a great thing. We're here 2 weeks in a row. Is that okay?
Back. Yes, it is,
okay?
because we had to make up time.
I think it is.
So,
people say you can't manipulate time. You can't change time. I disagree. I think we just have. We've done it.
God, you know how amazing of a superpower that would be?
Be a pretty good one.
I think that'd be number one on
That'd
my list.
be a pretty good one. Yeah, pretty tough to top.
Oh,
You got that
for
going on.
sure.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Speaking of superpowers, okay, so if you had the choice of having legitimate time manipulation ability,
Okay.
would you say yes to that in favor of something else, or would you pick something else?
What's my something else?
Whatever you want it to be.
That's pretty
Like, is
solid.
that a good enough ability that you're going, oh, that's what I'm choosing over anything else?
It's
pretty good.
What are we classifying as time manipulation? I think we need to get specific here.
Okay.
Can I start time?
Yes.
Can I fast forward? Rewind?
I'm going to say you cannot fast forward. I'm going to say you can go back. You can rewind, retaining the memory of what has already come.
Oh. Okay. Still winning.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
And then...
So not fast forwarding, but in essence, you're getting that same
So then there would
impact.
be no time traveling into the future.
Correct.
essentially.
Yeah, this is a little more limited. So not time travel, jumping in the future, more time manipulation, being able to go back and relive certain moments.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Because I could literally stop
Pretty
time
tough.
and then just like sit there and learn something. And then just watch somebody figure out how I figured it out.
It's pretty good.
Right.
It's pretty dang good.
But yes. Or I can just like stop time and then trip somebody and then they have no idea that I'm the one who tripped them.
Mm-hmm.
And they just look silly.
I still feel like I'd want to... Here's a really like low-key choice. I think it'd be a blast to choose super speed, okay?
It would.
But control it in such a way where you can be a professional athlete, but you're not using the full... You know what I mean? You're not using the full speed at your disposal. You're just dialing up to a couple percent, but you're still vastly faster than everybody else. That'd be fantastic.
He does it again.
Right?
He beats Usain Bolt's record.
His
Yeah, that would be great.
20th gold medal in a row. Unprecedented. This 80-year-old fart is just out here smoking the 20-year-olds.
Redefining the definition of an Iron Man. Yeah, it'd be solid.
That's not like the right way to use that power, but that's 100% where I'd be tempted to go.
It's like Dash in The Incredibles.
Correct.
Don't win, get second.
Correct, right? They don't want
Don't
to win.
lose, just get second. Settle for second.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
That would be good.
Yeah. Well, there's certain individuals like Thor that have lightning powers that we'll probably talk a little bit about.
We have to.
He's got
It's that
sparkly
time.
fingers, according to the Grandmaster. That's pretty good.
He does have sparkly fingers.
Yep. And I'd imagine there's a few other things we could chat about today.
This is true?
Sure.
Very
Sure.
true.
So let's jump into it, shall we?
Yes.
All right. So Thor, Love and Thunder, coming out here in 1 week's time. And some change, I guess 8 days. Okay, we're going to go back into this. 9 freaking days if you're going on the official release date. But really, movies don't officially get released on Fridays anymore. They get released on Thursdays. So
In the afternoon.
in the afternoon. So it's really Thursday, the third day, that we're going to go check this movie out. And it's time for us to decide who's going to live, who's going to die, and maybe some other fun things that might happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's worthwhile. I think we've been pretty good at this also. I think our picks have been historically solid at calling out who's going to make it, who's not. Like,
Right.
I remember our Suicide Squad predictions from nigh on a year ago, and those were just about Money in the Bank. Those were top notch. I mean, that was also...
smart.
We're smart. We're prophets.
And also, it's Suicide Squad. You're going to bang
a lot of
on
people are
them
going to die.
dying.
Right? A lot of people are going to die.
That's their job.
Yep. No question. But I'm looking forward to this movie for a myriad of reasons. But I'm also looking forward to this pod to start putting some people under the ground. Be like, you're not coming back. You won't be in Thor. I don't even know what on earth could the next sequel be. Love and Thunder. Is this one hate and lightning. Who's to say? Who's to say? That's a terrible effort. Terrible. All right. So let's just take
the title too.
Thor. A little context
and
here,
lightning.
right? And potential spoilers per usual. In the comic that this movie seems to be drawing a great deal of inspiration from, primarily as it pertains to the villain, Gore the God Butcher. In the comic, okay, Gore does perish, meets his end, and to my knowledge, has not had the comic thing happen to him where he's come back, been reborn, or reincarnated. He has stayed very dead, which on the one hand is kind of a shame because he was one heck of a villain, but on the other hand, the fact that his impact reverberated through Thor's storyline for the next decade to come, pretty impressive. Pretty good one-off for a villain. So let's start with the villain rather than the hero in our prediction here. Riley, do you think Gore the God Butcher lives or dies by the end of this movie? Dead?
He's going to die.
Tell us why.
Let's be real. Can you see Christian Bale committing to more than one movie?
He is such a wild card.
Right.
So yes, I could. But do I count on that?
No.
No, I do not.
No. Secondly, if they go by the story, he dies in the book, I'm going to say he's going to die. And mainly because I'm like, what else are you going to do with him? Like, after this, like, it's just... I think Gore almost works just as well being dead and having an effect on Thor while he's dead as much as he has an effect on him being alive.
Yep.
So, if anything, we might get a Thor being unworthy storyline after this.
Mm-hmm.
And then that be the next Thor movie.
Yep.
And I would be cool with that.
Okay.
And then Stormbreaker goes to Beta Ray Bill.
There you go.
And then he just takes his old axe from back in the day, you know?
Right.
Jarnborn? Or,
Yep.
Man, I'm
Jarnborn.
fire.
Jarnborn.
Because I don't think, yeah. So I'm going to say dead, and I think he's going to go out with a bang. He's going to take some important people with him, I think.
Okay. I agree. I do think he's dead. That's not what I would like. I would like to see him around. Like, I would like to see more of Christian Bale in general, more of Gore the God Butcher in particular, and that combination of Bale as the God Butcher has excited me ever since that announcement was made eons ago. So I would prefer that he not die, but it does seem more likely that he perishes by the end of this film than not. Part of it is what you said with the Christian Bale factor. Is he really going to commit to multiple movies as the villain? Probably not. Probably not. Could he? Yes. Will he? I don't think so. There hasn't been much of a precedent set in the MCU anyhow for villains to make repeat appearances.
Right.
That's been extraordinarily rare. Thanos is the obvious outlier. Even then, it's still the same story. It was just spaced out over 2 movies in particular, and obviously the first 3 phases as a whole. But can we even think of another MCU villain that has made multiple appearances? Loki.
Yeah, I was going to say Loki. And then...
Loki's the obvious one.
Right. And
Ultron certainly did not.
No, and he should have.
Should have.
Yeah, because... Yep.
Malekith, Hela, Malekith.
Sounds good to me.
Why don't they just call him Keith? That's not a great name for
what
a
is the
So you're just Keith. You're Keith.
What is the ugliest guy name you can think of?
Malekith.
That's a Family Guy reference.
I know it's actually Malekith, but Malekith. That's fun to say. Poke fun at him a little bit. I feel like that would bother him. So Malekith, he didn't make it more than one.
No. It's always weird, obscure villains that make it out alive, like Ghost.
Bucky is the Winter Soldier, kind of, went from villain to hero.
Went from hero to villain to hero.
There you are. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just...
Pure villains.
Not a lot, no.
No.
The record's
Ronin,
not good.
Ego. Yeah, so seems unlikely. So we're going to say Gore dead. That's the official casting of the stone by JP and the Beans. Sorry, Gore. You're dead again.
Which is depressing, but...
Tough break there, buddy. Yeah, okay. How about our hero, Thor? Is he going to make it?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have Thor for a very, very long time.
I think as long as Chris wants to keep growing the golden locks.
Right, and it sounds like he wants to keep growing them forever. So
Sure.
I think it'll be just when him and Marvel decide, hey, it's time to put the hammer down for good.
It'd be great if he keeps doing it for so long that he just transitions into old Thor.
It would be badass.
That would be incredible.
Or, he goes for a while and then they kill him off and then he comes back as old King Thor. That would be great.
Right.
And they do like a Logan-esque style movie.
Exactly.
It would be perfect.
I'm here for that.
I'm also here for that.
I'm here for that.
But, yeah, no, he's alive. I think that next step, though, for him would be that unworthy. I think they're going to explore that a little bit in this movie, from what I understand about what it means to be a... I think
they've certainly teased that in the trailers, and fair enough.
Yeah, what it means to be a god. I think he's going to figure that out. And maybe he just becomes unworthy, puts the hammer down, and picks up a different thing and just kind of rogues it out, which would be kind of cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I wouldn't mind that.
Well, either way, we're confident we're going to get Thor for a good long while here, which I think keeps us both smiling and satisfied. So we'll just let that hang out there.
I appreciate you.
Yep.
And then
How about Jane Foster?
Yeah.
She's stepping in as the mighty Thor. I don't know.
This one is going to be...
This is tricky.
This is going to be a dice roll.
Yeah, this
Because-
is straight up a 50-50.
Like, are they for sure playing into the cancer? Have they discussed that at all?
Don't know, and I'm glad that I don't know. So I feel unsullied by expectations here. I'm going to say 51% she lives, 49% she dies. So I think it's just a slightly more likely that she's going to make it, that she's going to pull through. But I'm not going to be shocked if Jane Foster's Thor is no-mo. And not just the Thor, but also Jane Foster as a character is toast. With as long as Natalie Portman has been away from the MCU, for her to step back in, and I could be reading this completely wrong, but my read on this is that she's coming back for one last ride, and then she's out.
Right.
Could be completely wrong. It could be they've enticed her with hey, we want you to take on the mighty Thor mantle, as you just mentioned. Chris Hemsworth, Thor becomes unworthy, so mighty Thor, played by Jane Foster, or embodied by Jane Foster, I should say, gets to take on the bulk of the Thor might for a bit. And so they're saying, Natalie, come on in for a few flicks. We'll give you the thunder for a bit. It could be that also. I just feel like it's a little bit more likely that it's the one and done.
I think she lives, and because if you've been noticing,
Okay.
Marvel has been doing a trend where they have multiple of similar characters. So we've had 3 Spider-Men show up.
Sure.
We've had now have 2 Hawkeyes. We now have a Miss Marvel with a Captain Marvel, and we have a Monica Rambeau. So you have 3 Captain Marvel people, right?
Okay.
We have She-Hulk getting introduced alongside Hulk, and then Abomination's coming back. So you have another 3 similar characters.
Yep.
I think she sticks around. It sounds like they're probably going to shoot for a Secret Wars movie as being the next big event.
Okay.
I think that's where she dies. If she dies, she does that,
But you think she's living after this movie?
right, or she slowly transitions into the Valkyrie role, like she does in the comics.
Okay. Good. So we got a little bit of a divergent opinion here. You're confident she's living.
I think so.
Saying I think she dies, but if she lives, okay.
It's too much of a money grab.
Yeah.
Female Thor is too much of a money grab. That's why they did it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she's toast. But maybe not. Who
But
knows?
a
Who
good
really knows?
character, not a bad money grab. Good character. I want to make sure I define that.
Correct.
I do not have a problem with Jane Foster Thor.
Well, you almost got canceled there.
Wow. Right.
Near miss.
JP and Beans hate women. No. No.
Finally, it came out. Well,
Can you imagine somebody clips that line right there and then just puts that out on the internet? We get millions of views for that.
for that. That's one way to get recognized. Okay. How about any of the Guardians of the Galaxy? I mean, they're all going to live in this, right?
I think they're going to be irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah. There's really no risk to any of them, right? They're all here. They're all living.
I think they're going to make cameos. I think this is going to be more of a cameo thing and be like, hey, They were with him for like a little bit, and then
Yep.
they were done with him. Thor was too much.
Okay, totally agree. Totally agree. So we won't hang out there for too long. Valkyrie.
This one's tricky.
Okay.
I think she's going to be.
You think trickier for you than the Jane Foster.
Right.
Okay.
Because she is the king of Asgard, which I'm not going to go too into that because that's not the kind of podcast we run here with titles. Okay. That's fine. Okay. The king.
Yep.
All right.
King Valkyrie.
King Valkyrie. Technically, probably going to be on Gore's high list of kills because she is now in charge of the Norse gods.
Okay. Good perspective.
So I think he's going to be coming for her. Now, does she live? Does she die? I'm going to lean towards living because I think they've talked about putting her in a Disney Plus show possibly. And I think I think she brings a lot to the table in the uniqueness of a character. I don't think there are a lot of characters like Valkyrie in the MCU right now.
True.
So I think she lives based off of that alone.
Yep.
Is she going to get her ass kicked? Probably. Is she going to be near death? Probably. I think Gore's going to wreck her. I don't think it's going to be close. But that's where I stand there. And then because I think they're going to...
So you think she makes it?
I do.
Okay. I do too. I think it's a little bit safer than your feel for it. The introduction of this character was outstanding in our previous Thor flick.
She did fantastic.
She was outstanding. Tessa Thompson is a beast.
It's a great reinvention of the character.
Yep. So I would find it very surprising to see her dispensed of so early in the run. I think there could be a time for that where it would have some impact. But I think after just one Thor movie and some in the Avengers Endgame, I'd be surprised.
She's one of the few badass women characters we have that we like.
Mm-hmm. She's outstanding.
I'd rather watch her than Captain Marvel any day of the week.
Yeah.
Hands down.
There's no doubt. There is no doubt. Okay. Here's my favorite pick. Zeus. Russell Crowe as Zeus. I've been calling this ever since the casting was announced and we found out that Gore the God Butcher is the main villain. He gone. He is toast.
Yeah, I agree.
He is gonna die.
I think it's
hard.
He looks like this Zeus looks like a very arrogant Zeus.
It's been a long time since he's cared.
Right.
Yeah, been a long time since he's tried.
Right.
He hasn't put forth effort in some time, many moons.
That whole point in the trailer where he's bringing him down and Thor's there, Gore will show up there. That will be where Gore shows up and just stabs Zeus through the chest. Probably also
he's going to die very hard.
Oh, it's going to be rough.
Here's really the question with Zeus in this movie. It's not will he die? It is how will he die? Is it he gets his head cut off? He gets cut in half? He gets disintegrated? All of the above.
I think it'll be stabby.
Limb by limb.
Right. I think it'll be stabby.
Pretty stabby.
I think either...
multiple stabs.
I think it'll be one of those jump kills where it's either right in the back, through the chest, and you're like, or it'll be, dude, if they do this, it would be badass. If they go straight for the head slice,
yes,
and the head rolls, badass. Do I think they'll do it? No, I don't think they will. I think that will be too graphic for them.
Okay.
But
okay,
I hope so. I hope. Oh man, cuts his head off, holds it up. That'd be glorious. It probably won't happen. I'm banging. I am betting on. I'm betting on stabbed at the back.
I love it,
and we're gonna leave it at that.
I love it. I'm here for the decapitation. That'd be fantastic. That's great.
I just don't know if they would do it.
Yeah. Okay. Korg. A little bit of a minor character here, but Taiko Kitty.
I think he's taking the sacrifice fly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think he's going to get stuck in a Staples and then trip, and the printer paper will fall on him, and he will die that way. Because paper always beats rock.
Wow.
No, I do think he will die, though.
You do think so?
I can see it.
Ooh, I think he lives. I think he's going to make it. He's going to be fine.
Kind of hope he makes it because I enjoy his character.
He's going to be fine. We can't lose that comedic tone. We need him. Mr. Kitty.
Somebody's got to pull at the heartstrings,
Sure.
and that one will be the one to pull at the heartstrings.
Okay.
Because he's not a main character. He's not central to the plot. But if he dies, people will be like, no!
Right.
Why?
There'll be people upset.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. It's a good prediction. I still disagree. I think he's going to make it. I really do. Okay. So those are the deaths or not deaths that we think are going to take place. Do we think we're going to get Hercules in this movie? I really don't think we are. Doesn't feel like it.
I don't
think so.
We talked about it a little bit.
Right.
Where it's either going to be Beta Ray Bill or Hercules. And to me, there is no indication that Beta Ray Bill will make an appearance in this movie.
Okay.
Does that mean that it won't happen? No. I think there's a good chance that it could happen. You could easily have it where...
I think he's in it.
I think you could easily have it where Gore kills his god, and that's what puts Beta Ray Bill on track. That it's possible. But I think just the way that they've set it up, and having Zeus there, and having him obviously going to die, it almost makes too much sense to not have Hercules in this.
Okay.
So, if we're going by the trailers, I think the logic states Hercules. If we are going off of pure instinct and the comic books themselves, I think Beta Ray Bill is the better fit, makes more sense, and is actually a Thor character. Hercules and
Thor adjacent.
Right.
He's not a Thor character. He's just in the Marvel
But
world.
He's heavily involved in the Thor mythos. Is he not?
I think adjacent is the right word.
Okay.
Like he's nearby.
Okay.
He's on Olympus, hanging out.
Oh, wait. Which one are we talking about?
Now
I'm talking about Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, now you went to Beta Ray? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No.
Hercules
Agreed.
is definitely his own.
Correct.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like they're just dudes. Hercules, Thor, they're just dudes. Thor and Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill is a Thor character.
There is no doubt. There is no doubt.
It makes way too much sense to not have him in this.
I think
he's going
to wind up in it. I really do.
I think it would be really cool if Stormbreaker just goes to him and Thor gets Yarnborn.
They better have either Beta Ray Bill or Chris Hemsworth playing old Thor, like an old version of himself that has time traveled back into this era to battle Gore.
And is it weird that I think that's harder to pull off than the Beta Ray Bill thing?
No, I think you're accurate. I think that's correct. I'd rather see Beta Ray Bill.
I just feel like old King Thor would be an insane pull.
Mm-hmm. Works really well in the comic. I don't know how you'd pull that off.
Right.
Yep.
Especially because, there's
always the chance that, and we've been waiting for this. Okay, so here's another character question of will this character emerge? Loki. Our guy Loki's out there.
No.
Variants are a thing. Do we get any of that action in this movie? You don't think so?
Nope.
You think hard pass?
And I'm okay with that. Honestly, I think we need one Thor movie without Loki.
Okay.
Which, don't burn me at the stake for that, all right? But
pitchforks are out, man.
Right. I just don't think he makes logical sense in the story. There's not a spot for him there. Unless
not an opening.
Unless for some reason they bring him back and he's the third person to help them fight Gore. And then dies again. But right? But I think if anything, if we get Loki, it would be an end credit scene and nothing more. And I just don't.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know what is going to happen in Loki season 2. They left off in a weird spot where it's like Loki's not going to be a factor for a while and anywhere else. I thought Loki might show up in Multiverse of Madness, and I was wrong. So
Right. Yeah, I agree. This does not seem like the place for Loki to emerge, particularly considering where Loki season 1 left off. I don't know where that opening is for him to come up here. And this does not feel like a movie that has enough common threads with, hey, we've got variants. Nah, I don't think that's a thing.
It doesn't fit the vibe.
No, it does not. So I think we're free and clear from Loki. Okay. Not necessarily a character that would show up, but a little connection, and I think we've touched on this a bit. Gore in the comics has the Necro Sword.
Right.
Okay? The closest thing visually that we've gotten to that in the MCU, and it's freaking right on the nose, is Hela and her power set from Thor.
Right.
And I wonder if part of the carryover from that previous Thor movie, from Ragnarok to now, is going to be, hey, Hela was slain, but the Necro Sword cannot be destroyed, so it goes out into the universe, is found by Gore.
So you think that's what her weapon was?
I think so. I think so.
Okay. That would make her a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Because I don't know what the route they're going to take with the Necro Sword. Because if they go the comic book route, we're going to be Null. Null is in the presence of possibility. And Venom is very heavily tied to that. So it depends on what they want to do with the Venom character.
Sure.
And it also depends on what Sony will allow them to do with the Venom character. So I think your Halo route's more possible than the Venom character because of strictly the rights of characters.
I feel really good about this one. Like the visual of Hela being able to just produce and detach these black blades that just have no limit to their utility. It's like that just reeks of how we see Gore utilize the Necro Sword in the comic. And I remember watching the movie thinking that, and now that we're 5 years down the road for Thor: Love and Thunder, that thought is coming back into my mind. I'm going, this feels like that's how we're going to get how that explanation is going to take place for how did Gore get these abilities. Well, Necro Sword's out there. Hela can't use it anymore. She's toast. Sorry. LOL. And therefore Gore finds it.
The only hole I will poke in that, and I can't believe I'm even using this as a hole poker.
How dare you?
How
dare you?
Is the
I don't even know what you're going to say.
The What If series.
Okay.
With when T'Challa is Star-Lord.
Wow, nice.
And the Collector.
What If.
And the Collector uses Hela's helmet. It looks like it's all in her helmet.
Oh, sure. Sure. Okay. Cool.
No doubt. But that's the...
I can't believe you're calling a comic canon.
Well, no, it's...
A cartoon canon.
Yeah, like I said, it's a weird...
How dare you?
It's a weird, obscure... Like, honestly, just because it works like that and that doesn't mean it's not going to work like that in the movie. So I have no idea what route.
No, good recollection on your part. No, I wasn't going to think of that. That's great.
So, that's the only...
Okay. I'm gonna lay out there and say that's what I think that Gore's power set's coming from. I feel really good about that.
I really do hope they set up Null, though. That would be cool.
Okay.
Null's a badass.
Okay. Any other final thoughts, final predictions, or hopes for this flick, Riley?
I only have one hope.
Yep.
I hope Gore kills a lot of people.
You gonna?
This was my wish for Venom versus Carnage in that movie. I was hoping Carnage would kill a lot of people. He killed some people. I just want a villain to go on a warpath. And I want a lot of people to die. And it has nothing to do with what I want to see physically. I need it to happen. I have a bloodlust that I can't take out in real life. So I need to see it played out.
It's getting dark.
I need to see it played out. So, somebody... scratch that itch, please.
If you go into that movie wearing a Gore is my homie t-shirt, I'm going to start asking questions. I'm going to start being concerned.
Well, hey, Gore was right.
In
the comic book.
You're rocking the Thanos was right mug, the Gore was right t-shirt.
Can we talk about how, just a side note, how big of a dick you have to be to rock that mug of Thanos was right?
Yeah.
Even in that universe?
You're a turd.
Right?
Yep, you don't have friends.
Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad all these people died. I wish that would have stayed the same. And you had the audacity to put that on a mug?
Not a good look.
That's insane.
Not the best.
No.
Probably should have gone a different direction, made a different choice in life, but you went that way instead.
Right.
Bummer. Okay, so you'd like to see Gore kill a lot of fools. I think your wish is going to be granted. Heard the runtime is 2 hours, a crisp 2. That makes me nervous. I don't understand why, and here's why. Like when we went and saw Doctor Strange, that was a 2-hour runtime.
Right.
And I think it should have been longer. And I think there is more. I just think there's more meat on this bone with Thor, such a well-established character, much more so even than Doctor Strange. That I was anticipating something closer to the 2.5-hour neighborhood. It's possible that the Batman movie spoiled me, like 3 hours of comic book movie majesty. But 2 hours just feels a little thin. That's the first I have felt nervous about this movie because my expectations have been huge, freaking huge. So, and they're not going down. So this is a really ambiguous statement, but I just want my expectations to be met. Like I want it to be fun. I want to see Gore go nuts, and I want him to be the best villain that Thor has faced yet.
I mean, I think there's a very good chance that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, look at who he went up against.
Yeah.
Malekith.
And I'd love to see Beta Ray Bill.
Right.
Come on.
Beta Ray Bill would be sweet.
Yep.
Malekith sucked. The Frost Giants sucked.
Goodness.
Hela, not bad. Give that woman credit. Good job, Kate. And then, yeah. I mean...
And then Loki's hanging around always.
Yeah, Loki, but he's just...
He's there. He's present.
Yeah, he just plays the asshole. That's what he plays.
Good at it.
Yes, very good at it.
Yeah, really good at it.
I think Gore has the potential.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Okay, good things. Next topic. How about we do a new one,
Yes.
Riles? So you had this stellar idea of, hey, what if... what if... No, we're not going to do that stinking show.
We're going to redo our whole review on the What If show today.
We are not going to do it. Not going to do it. Well, I should let you introduce this topic. I shouldn't steal your thunder here. Tell us about your inspiration.
Yes, so I was thinking, because I was like, we do a lot of talking about movies and shows.
Of course.
And I want to, and we do our comic book breakdowns. Okay, we do have our stories that we tell.
Naturally.
To get you guys to read comic books because
that's what we do.
It keeps us in business on our $0 salary here. So
thriving business.
Yes. But I was thinking we could branch out a little bit.
Yep.
Go into what we like. So I came up with this. Pretty much, we both have a top 5 of our own. I'll be very interested to see if there's any overlap.
Sure.
But the topic for this is top 5 characters we want to see live action.
Mm-hmm.
So,
love that.
My question to you, Jordan,
you bet,
before we dive deep, are there any characters on your list that have shown up live that you thought, okay, this character was not done justice?
Great question.
Or are they all fresh?
So,
because that will change one of my picks.
Yes to both. So your idea I thought was tremendous. Great topic. So I started making my list, and I had to create separate categories in my list. Okay? Here's my categories. So there's the not yet seen, so we haven't yet gotten a live action version. And by live action in particular, I'm meaning movie.
Right.
Okay?
We're not going to count Smallville, the TV show.
No. Then there's some that fall in the category that you just mentioned, where we've already seen some of these characters, but we'd like to see them done again, or maybe just more of. So, for example, Superman, like this is a layup. I would like to see more of Henry Cavill as Superman.
Okay.
Right? He's a great Superman. I would like to see more of him as Superman. Doesn't feel like I'm going to get that wish fulfilled. Bummer for me, but he'd be a candidate on that particular category. I had a little fun with this other category. Never needs to be seen again. Then I'll spoil it for you right now. Poison Ivy. She was done once in a movie. Never need to see her again.
Really?
Never.
That's bold.
Never. Yep.
I think she could be done right.
I don't want it. I don't want it. Just done. Just out.
I just don't think Uma Thurman was the right pick for that.
Also agreed.
I think that.
Also agreed.
Because I think
just not good.
The actress who played her in Gotham, if you've ever watched that TV show,
haven't.
It's pretty much just origins of all of Batman's villains and of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. Because I think at the end of the show he does become Batman.
Sure.
But it follows a young James Gordon.
Yep. Which is a great concept for a show.
It's solid. It's a solid show. I need to finish it. I haven't finished it in 4 years. So, but the character that played her, I thought did really well.
Okay. So anyway, there's my category.
That is not who I thought was going to be on there. Do you know how, by the way, if that would have been our topic of choice, do you know how long my list would have been?
Oh, and we'll come back to it because I need to leave it sequestered into its own. That's another podcast topic.
Okay.
So we won't.
So we're going to stick to your.
Yes. So you just went all out. Dude, your idea has branched off other categories. So we'll come into those. There's another one of.
I'm a genius, guys.
Can't be topped.
Can't be topped. Oh, like never touch again.
It's going, like, in my mind, it's inevitable that some of these characters are going to be reimagined. Right. Okay. Another little spoil here. Christian Bale's Batman. I think that's the best Batman I'm ever going to see. Okay. But I don't want there to not be any more Batman movies.
Okay.
I'm all for more Batman movies. I don't know how you're going to top Christian Bale's portrayal as Bruce Wayne in Batman. That's really freaking good.
Yeah. I mean, I know my equivalent of that. So yes, that makes sense.
So I think that's a great topic to dive into at some point. But to bring it back into focus, what I chose to do with this topic for this podcast was keep it limited to who we have not seen yet.
Okay. So I have.
So there's reimaginings.
I have.
We'll save that for another time.
I have one on my list then.
That's great.
So that I will need to adjust real quick, and I will just do that to the other one that I had. Yeah. So would you like to kick it off, or would you? Oh, so this is how we should do this. We should do this 5-1.
Oh boy.
And if you know me well, you'll probably know who my number one is, by far.
Kraven the Hunter.
No. That thought came to me today. That thought came to me while I was doing this. And I immediately got angry. I was like, you know who hasn't shown up in a film? Kraven. And I'm like, oh, wait, we're getting a stupid one. And then I legit, got angry. I got so mad. So I say we go 5-1, unless you don't have them in a particular order.
No, that's good. Let me do a little rearranging because I just kind of brain dumped, but I can do that. I can do a 5-1.
I am
with the caveat of, hey, listen, we can always revise our freaking lists. This is not gospel.
Right.
Well, it is, but it's gospel that's fluid. Okay,
it's fluid.
It's fluid. Right. It's malleable. It can be changed. It can be molded.
Have you ever seen Stephen A. say that? Because he does.
No, is that a typical?
Yeah, he does top 5 lists on ESPN. And he goes, it's fluid. It's fluid. Whenever anyone questions,
I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I just channeled some Stephen A. But you know what? So be it. I'll lean into it this time. Okay, so 5-1. All right. See, I've even got more than 5 on my list, which is just cheating.
Well, that's fine. We can include honorable mentions.
Sure,
if you would like.
Most of my list is going to be DC oriented.
So is mine.
It just is because there's so much less DC content, right? There just is.
I was like
Malekith. Okay, we brought him up earlier. I would love to see Malekith redone
and done right,
right because he should be an outstanding Thor villain.
Right.
Okay, but that's just an example of Malekith has had an opportunity to show up because there's been so many flipping Marvel movies, and then you look over the DC side and you're like, okay,
I can
so much untapped potential.
That list would be mainly Marvel, and that list would cause me to rant extremely a lot.
Yep. So we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. To that list. So that's okay. We're gonna have a pretty DC bent to this list, and I think that's fine. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm going to start with the one Marvel character.
I will do the same.
Yep, that I've got. We'll call this guy number 5. Ezekiel Stain.
So that's an interesting pick.
Yeah. So I brought my Iron Man by Matt Fraction and Salvador La Roca. Outstanding comic. Ezekiel Stain in the story of the Five Nightmares is the primary antagonist. I've talked about this in a distant previous pod. Anyhow, he's a tremendous adversary to Iron Man. So he is what Obadiah Stane was, right? Smart, driven, but he is much more savvy than his old man. So instead of trying to beef up the suit and go mano-a-mano with Tony Stark, he is much more subversive in his methods. Now, he is still very much interested in doing the one-on-one mano-a-mano throwdown, but that's not his first and only move. He has more styles of arrows in his quiver, so to speak. And so he goes after not just Tony Stark, the person, but tries to tear down the business of Stark Industries, tries to tear down everything and everyone that matters to Tony Stark. Like, he is a holistic, all-encompassing, hates Tony Stark, and he's going to take him down to beyond the grave. Kind of bad. So just a tremendous villain, not just for the mental aspect, but even physically, he's formidable enough through the enhancements that he puts himself through, where he can really give the Iron Man suit a very tough challenge.
Now here's the tricky part: how you bring him in.
Well, good question. You got to assume that Obadiah had a son that was never talked about in the first Iron Man.
Oh, that's usually how that goes.
Yep, that's usually how that goes.
I'm his son.
Right,
Yeah,
illegitimate son, has some, grief, some trauma to deal with. So he has a bone to pick with the now dearly departed dad. But also hates Tony Stark weirdly because he killed his dad, and he wishes he had a relationship with his dad. So there's some very complex bitterness going on here. So I would love to see Ezekiel Stain come up. Now the trick is, oh crap, Tony Stark's dead. Right. So he obviously cannot battle Tony Stark. But as we know, there are going to be Iron Man-esque characters still amok in the MCU. # Armor Wars.
I was about to say, I think Zeke might have been rumored to be the main guy.
Ooh, really?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Don't hold me to that. You might have to. That might be a Google.
So I think he could be a natural adversary or a good fit for whoever it is that's rocking the Iron Man armor in future movies.
Talk about an MCU show that actually has a lot of potential that I'm interested in as Armor Wars. And I can't wait to hear more about that show.
So Ezekiel Stain, there's my number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is also the only Marvel character I have on the list.
Yes.
It's hilarious. And honestly, I do not have an attachment personally to this character. It's more of the impact he has on the universe itself. And I picked Mephisto.
Interesting.
Because if we introduce Mephisto, there's a good chance we get Ghost Rider. Okay. Ghost Rider back.
Okay.
That would be great.
Yep.
I think about also his impact on Spider-Man in the One More Day storyline, where he makes a deal to give up his marriage in favor of saving Aunt May. I think there's potential to almost do something similar to that now.
Sure.
That Aunt May is no longer with us in the MCU. I think he has a lot of ties to Doctor Strange, which would be a lot of fun. I think there's just a lot to explore in that realm, and he brings that to the table. And he's also kind of like the trump card, essentially, in the sense of like when Mephisto shows up, something's going down because he wants something out of that person, whether it's a hero or a villain, because he's been involved with Doom, he's been involved with, like I said, Spider-Man. You have Hulk, Venom, like he's just there. So I think his impact as a whole. Now, where do you put him in? You put him in something like a Ghost Rider, maybe to introduce him, and then after that, he just shows up randomly.
Yep.
He would be an interesting tie-in with Scarlet Witch. So that's my Marvel pick.
It's great.
So
it's great. Love that pick. That's outstanding. Okay. Mephisto. He's one of those characters that has long been rumored to appear and has yet to make an appearance. So it seems inevitable, right? Just a matter of time. More of a when, not if, but nonetheless, we're still waiting.
Also, if he showed up in the Ghost Rider movies, I don't know that. I haven't seen them, so it does not count for me.
I don't think you're missing out. I think that's fine.
I just want to point that out. I don't want them to come at me and be like, your list is inaccurate because He was in the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies. I don't care. Okay, I didn't see him.
Doesn't matter.
I didn't see him.
Not relevant.
This is my list.
Not
okay?
relevant. It's fluid.
Shut up.
It's freaking fluid. Okay, great
So,
pick. All right, so
but
we
yeah.
got our Marvels in there.
Yep.
There you go, Marvel. Hey, good on you. You're putting out a lot of content, so the options are fewer and
Yeah,
far
you
between.
really made it hard. I tried to get at least 2 of you on there, and the other one that I had on there was already done.
Yep. Okay, another pick of mine is kind of a combo pick. I would love to see Mr. Miracle and Big Barda show up
In DC.
in DC.
Okay.
Yep. So Scott Free, aka Mr. Miracle, the new god or one of the new gods of New Genesis. I would really enjoy seeing his character show up. And again, little theme going on here. I brought his comic from a couple years back, written by Tom King. Well done, Tom. It's an outstanding book, and I bring up Big Barda as well because the relationship between Scott Free and Big Barda is really tremendous and really beautifully done in this comic run. Part of it is because physically it's such a humorous pairing, right? Scott's your average size, 6 foot tall white guy, and Big Barda fits the name, right? She could play in the WNBA. She's got some height to her. And so there's this uncommon physical pairing there. But there's also the relational dynamic that is outstanding. They have a genuine care for each other because of their shared experiences on Apocalypse that left each of them just traumatically scarred and yet driven to fight for good and against Darkseid and his minions. But I love the idea of DC going cosmic. Like, that is one of the aspects of DC that, personal preference, I think is just superior to Marvel. That's a hill that I'll die on. Not really a hill worth dying on, I suppose, but if I had to, I would. I love it when DC goes cosmic, and Mr. Marvel is a great character for that. So what I would like to see is I would love to see DC do a movie or a show. Doesn't matter which, I guess. I'm going to say show. I'm going to amend that a little bit. Show that shows or lays the groundwork of the conflict between the new gods of New Genesis and, well, freaking Darkseid and the minions of Apocalypse and their war. I would love to see that. Be some good drama there. Love it. So there you go.
As one I did not have on my list, so
It's okay.
we're doing good.
It's okay.
We're doing
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, love it. Diversity here.
Right. So, for my number 4 pick, I'm staying on the mystic side of things.
Great.
Which is a weird place for me to live because I don't like magic's like to me. Okay.
You're not a wizard.
Right. The demon Etrigan.
Nice.
Mainly because he is a cool character. Okay. The idea of that's kind of their Hulk, where it's Jekyll and Hyde, but these guys are two actually separate individuals that are just attached to each other. The fact that he rhymes is hilarious to me.
With everything he says, right? He rhymes every time.
Yes. But like, man, he's just such a cool character. Breathes fire. Like,
Good ability to have.
I mean, yeah, he adds to the mystic side of things. And he's a beast. The dude's a beast. That's all I got. I don't know much
Demon
about
Etrigan.
Demon the Etrigan.
Okay. All right.
I just think he's a cool character.
Cool look, cool
I'd like to
power
see
set.
him.
You'd like to see
Like,
Demon Etrigan
if they did
show
like
up.
a Justice League Dark movie, I think that'd be amazing.
Yep. Okay.
That's my 4th pick. And sorry that I can't go more in depth with
That's
the
okay.
character.
I love that. All right, my number 3 would be Black Hand, Green Lantern villain. Okay. He is a nasty son of a gun. When your main claim to fame is that you can drain the powers of other Green Lanterns or Green Lanterns overall, and you can bring fools back from the dead and have them fight for you, that's pretty ferocious. I think that would be one heck of an adversary to come up against. I just think it's the perfect Green Lantern villain. Like, all the aspects of fear that come along with reincarnating the dead, having zombie-like individuals attacking heroes. Like, that would be... So as much as I'm not a zombie guy, I think Black Hand would be a terrific villain. And it kind of ties into... Well, I'd love to see some actual legit outstanding Green Lantern action. But the Blackest Night storyline was so good. So good. And Black Hand had such a huge piece in introducing and leading the Black Lanterns that I'd be down for that.
Can you imagine if DC would have done like what Marvel did and just had Blackest Night as one of their events?
Goodness.
Talk about highway robbery. Anywho,
There you go.
that actually leads really well into my third pick, which is Jon Stewart, Green Lantern.
Ooh.
Because that was my Green Lantern growing up. Justice League Unlimited, the animated series.
Yep.
That's my
Stu.
Green Lantern.
J. Stu.
I did not know who Hal Jordan was until Ryan Reynolds showed up, okay? John is my guy. He's a badass. He's a leader. Former military, which is
Marine.
super cool.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The dude gets it done. And also his constructs are all like... They're all very detailed.
Extraordinarily detailed.
Right.
Yep.
So, like, we already got Hal. We had a crack at Hal. I want John.
I love that pick.
John's my dude.
Love that pick. That's a great pick.
So, and if we're going Green Lanterns, number 2 would be Kyle Rayner, just because him doing constructs on screen would be fantastic. Because
It's pretty gorgeous.
he just does whatever he wants, and I think that's fantastic, because that's how I would run it.
That's great.
Right? You know?
That's great.
The only one who's fun with his constructs.
Well, Kyle, somebody has to be.
Right.
Love that pick. Hey, that's outstanding. Okay, my number 2, another bit of a group pick rather than individual. Court of Owls.
Yep.
Bring him in. Love to see the Court of Owls in one of the next Batman movies. As we've discussed previously, I think it is in line with the tone that was set by The Batman, by Mr. Reeves. So I think that would be outstanding. But it was one of the, one of the just most original and well worth your time comics by Scott Snyder when he introduced the Court of Owls during the New 52 launch of Batman. I think there's no, just stop messing around. Get them into the movies as a collective villain group. They're so in-depth, they're so tough, they're so nefarious, they're so committed to their cause. They have all the makings of a great villain. Just get them in there. So there's my 2, Court of Owls.
My 2 can actually go along with that as well. And I have Jason Todd Red Hood.
Ooh.
Because see, I was debating. I was like, we've had Dick Grayson kind of on it, but we've never had like a live action Nightwing.
Never had a Jason
Todd. Which would have been cool.
Yep.
We have not had Jason Todd, period. Period. Now, the only tricky thing would be setting up Jason Todd, because I feel like you almost have to show him die in one movie to bring him back in the second one. Right? But
very difficult character to introduce in the movies at this stage.
But like an Under the Red Hood movie, where it's pretty much like, I mean, we all know the outcome of, or we all know who, like,
Who
there's
is
no
under the Red Hood.
Right. There's no mystery. There would just be mystery for Batman. But like at the same time, to just have that, like, I mean, he's Batman with a kill rule. Like he's okay with killing people. I think that's fantastic to explore on screen. I want Jason Todd. And Jason Todd's my favorite Robin. And
I think we came kind of close with the Scott Snyder universe.
Right.
I think there was opportunity for that character to have emerged, but we're beyond that now.
Right. And instead they introduced, well, they said it was Dick who died.
But that was all off screen. Like, it was never.
Yeah, you could have changed it.
Right. They could have done whatever they actually wanted to do. So
he's a cool character to bring in.
Yep.
You can kind of do whatever you want with Jason. You can have him run around Gotham. You can have him be an outlaw and go hunting other people. I think that either way, it's fantastic.
Okay.
So,
but he's your favorite Robin?
He's my favorite. He's my favorite Robin that's not a Robin. So, my favorite person wearing the Robin mantle will probably be Dick, because I grew up with Dick.
Yep.
But like my favorite graduate of Robin school is probably Jason Todd.
There you go. There you go.
Nightwing's probably number 2. But
okay. We might have the same number 1.
If you know me, you will know who my number 1 is.
I think we have the same number 1. My number 1 is Martian Manhunter. Yes, we
Damn
do.
right!
Yes, we do.
Damn right!
Yes. Come on.
My guy.
Come on.
My guy.
Come on. That's great. That's great. I wondered when I was making my list, because I remember our conversations from years ago. I thought there's a chance, but I'm glad I didn't ask you, because I was tempted to text you like, hey, where would Martian Manhunter fall on your list? I'm glad we just extemporaneously discovered this. That's great.
If you know me,
that's great.
You know who's going to be number one.
Of course. Now, here's the teeniest caveat here, okay? He did show up in the Snyder Cut.
Doesn't count.
Totally agree.
Don't count.
Totally agree it doesn't count. Totally agree.
It was not in the original cut.
No.
Doesn't count.
No. Does not count. Not valid. There is so much potential with that character. Now, his power set is extraordinary. He has super speed, super strength. He can fly. He can shapeshift, which is the coolest part. Timeout. He can shapeshift. He can phase. Can he turn invisible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can turn invisible.
Can read minds.
He has psychic abilities, so he can read minds. He can communicate. Or I should say telepathic.
Yeah, I don't think
ability.
he can.
Psychic was incorrect.
I don't think he's telekinetic.
Beg pardon. No, not telekinetic. So he can coordinate. And one of the coolest aspects, okay, I'm going to call them original, but in the Grant Morrison run of the Justice League comics from late 90s that I really read and just embraced and enjoyed, there's a ton of Martian Manhunter in there. He creates a telepathic link amongst every member of the Justice League. So they're not using like audio comms. They're using comms, so to speak, that have been established by Martian Manhunter in their own minds. Outstanding. But he is such a formidable and unique character. His backstory is outstanding, right? Coming from Mars, where all of his fellow Martians were killed. He is the last Martian remaining alive. That's great. But the comics for me is where I fell in love with Martian Manhunter as a character, where I thought this character, how have we not had him on the big screen? How?
And my love from him comes from Justice League, the animated series.
Yeah.
Again.
And he's great in that.
By the way,
he's
great
really
cartoon.
well used.
But yeah, It was just, that's what I grew up with him. Like,
yep.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
And then never heard from him again.
Right.
Like, talk about, by the way, just in general, what an underutilized superhero on DC's part.
Even in the comics now.
How has he never had a good solo run? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's one of the tragedies of the New 52 is, on the one hand, we had a reimagining of Cyborg that was outstanding and very worthwhile. But it came at the expense of Martian Manhunter having his place in the Justice League pantheon. And I know Martian Manhunter was still around in a manner of speaking, but
not the same.
In a really awkward, adversarial way, where Amanda Waller tried to set up the Justice League of America, and Martian Manhunter was a member of that group.
Didn't he lead it?
Maybe, but it just didn't work. Like, it was just very, very clunky because they were set up to be a in direct opposition to just the Justice League.
And his counter was Superman, by the way.
Right.
He was the counter for Superman. If that doesn't put that on the nose, my lord.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. So, underutilized 100%, not just on the film and TV side, but in the comics itself. It's like, what are we doing here? We're missing out on a rich, outstanding character. So, at some point, he's going to get done right in the comics again. And at some point, he's going to show up whenever, because it's going to happen in our lifetime. I'm not saying anytime soon, but in our lifetime, we're getting a good frickin' Justice League movie, and Martian Manhunter is going to be a part of that.
He better be.
Yep.
But I do, there is only one nitpick, but this is just with the character in general, is his weakness being fire. I think that's a very horrible weakness to have. But at the same time, they did say...
in the hero business. A lot of explosions.
But they did say that it's a mental block for him and not an actual physical weakness.
Right.
So if they actually
Right.
do it that way, and then like there's a Justice League movie where he like figures that out and is like, okay, I can get past it, and just wrecks house. Great. Okay, I just pitched it. Right there. Take it. Use it. Okay, hit it out of the park for me.
He's in the Supergirl show, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Ugh.
That doesn't count either.
No.
No. We're not talking CW here.
No.
No. But I mean,
No. That's a great number 1 pick. Way to go. Up top. Way to go.
it's
Let's
the
go.
only number 1 pick.
It is. It
That
really
is my
is.
man.
Yep. Love that. Well, that's a great topic, Riles. We will keep some of those other topics sacred for future pods because I think there is some rich material in there. I am going to quickly rip off the honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. My honorable mentions are The Batman Who Laughs. I just don't know how you do it
Right.
in a movie.
It's almost too obscure.
Yep. Wouldn't
Right
work
now.
right now. Wouldn't work right now. So that blend of Joker and Batman. I don't know how on earth you do that in the movies. Maybe someday, but not right now or anytime soon. Prospect. Brainiac would be an outstanding
Brainiac would be
villain.
cool.
But on the hero side, Plastic Man.
I thought about putting him on the list.
Yeah. He's not top 5, but really close. Like a hilarious character. Awesome, like sneakily powerful skill set. So I'd love to see him involved. And again, just an absolute riot in those 1990s Justice League comics. Fantastic and really well utilized. There's my honorable mentions.
A lot of my honorable mentions were originally shown and stuff that I've seen, so
Sure,
I didn't write them on the list. There's 2 specifically that were Marvel villains. I will say Atrocitus would be really cool.
Yep.
That's somebody I thought about when we got into the Green Lantern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Green Lantern cores, like, and all the other color spectrum,
Right.
would be fantastic to explore.
Agreed.
But Atrocitus was the one that I thought of. And then maybe someday I'll remember the 2 that I forgot completely out of my noggin. So
They'll come back to you.
right.
Yeah.
But that's where I am at on that.
Yeah. I had the Crime Syndicate on there as well. They are the inverse, essentially, of the Justice League, or
Right.
the evil version of the Justice League. Some really, really sweet comic runs with them. Actually, in the New 52, they had a tremendous storyline called Forever Evil. Really good.
Oh, yeah.
Really worthwhile. They were terrific. So I'd love to see them.
Oh, and then the Metal Men,
Ooh, yes.
which is obscure and
Yep.
definitely does not deserve
Yep.
a movie. But, like, you throw in a TV show or something, or them in the background of another TV
Yep.
show, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
Another weird one, but
A lot of potential. Well, we'll discuss, hey, who have we already seen some of that we'd like to see more or different? So we'll hit on that at some point. And also, I'm really looking forward. I think the next, I don't know what order I want to go in, but I'm really looking forward to discussing the can't be topped category.
that will be fun.
Because there's some rich earth to till there.
I don't even know if there's 5, though, that can't be topped. That's the real...
I think there would be.
You think
I think there
there's
is.
gonna be 5?
I think there is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool,
Yep.
cool,
And
cool,
again, these aren't, hey, you can't ever do them again. It's more of a, you're not going to get better than this. Like what we've seen already, it's as good as it's going to get. So you might actually be better off not touching them. But if you do, just know that you're already getting the L. You're not getting the W here.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. Well, hey, anything else you want to hit on the top 5 list?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, I need to pick up from where I left off a coon's age ago, several a pod from before, on my top 30 movies. We're firmly in the middle of this list. Previously, I ripped through 3 Christopher Nolan directed films. All right, so just by way of review, that was at number 21, Interstellar, number 20, Inception, number 19, The Prestige. By way of a quick recap, 30th, okay, Ocean's 11. We're going to count down from 30. Ocean's 11 at 30, Cinderella at 29. And, oh golly, hold on. Hurting myself here. Saving Mr. Banks at 29. Excuse me. Cinderella at 28. Spider-Man 2 at 27. Lincoln at 26. Hell or High Water at 25. Moneyball at 24. True Grit at number 23. Hacksaw Ridge, number 22. Interstellar, 21. Inception, 20. The Prestige, 19. And coming in at a zesty 18, Wonder Woman. Love that movie.
Fantastic.
Great freaking movie. Here's what I appreciate about that movie the most, is it knew what it was and was not ashamed at all of what it was. So Wonder Woman came out at a very similar, if not the same year, very similar time frame to Thor Ragnarok. And while I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok, there were parts of that movie where I was a little bothered at how goofy it got.
I agree.
It got a little too
goofy.
A little too goofy, where it was maybe a little too, or trying to be too self-aware, where it's like, yeah, I mean, this is just a comic book movie, LOL, BT dubs. And I would have liked to have seen it take itself more seriously. And so I really appreciated in Wonder Woman that throughout this movie, Diana is a character that is naive, but also firmly believes that she is fighting for the good and for love and for friendship. And those are really pure motives that the world she gets dropped into has lost hope and lost faith in. And so she becomes this embodiment of that hope, of that faith. And I found that very refreshing. It wasn't, it was doubted by the characters around her, but it was never used for comedic relief in the movie. And I really appreciated that about the movie and about the character. I thought the casting of Gal Gadot was solid. I don't think that this is going to be this is going to sound like a critique. I don't think Gal Gadot is like this exceptional actress, but I think she's a great fit for the Wonder Woman character. She has this, what I'm going to say, regalness about her that really works well with this character, where you look and visually you're like, you're not a human being. Like, yes, you're an Amazon god. That makes sense. And I think it's kind of similar with Henry Cavill. It's like, you're a freaking Kryptonian. You're not a human being. You're cut from Kryptonian granite, not mortal flesh.
He still is.
Yeah, so is Chris Hemsworth. So that look, that is a key piece for almost all characters, right? That's certainly a factor. But I think for some characters, Wonder Woman included, that was particularly critical. And I think that was absolutely crushed. So I liked that it took itself, like there was still comedy in the movie, but it didn't come at the expense of enjoying and honoring what Wonder Woman is as a character. So really enjoyed it.
Did you ever see the second one?
I did.
How was that one?
It was good.
I haven't seen the second one.
Not as good as the first one.
I like the first one.
First one's really outstanding. The second one is really good in its own right. I don't think it hits the bar of the first one.
Right.
Yeah, but still a good movie, still a good continuation of that character. Gosh, why am I forgetting? This is frustrating. What in the world? Chris Pine. There we go. It's like, it's Chris. Chris Pine, who played Steve Trevor, was terrific in this movie as well. Big fan of Chris Pine. Give me some Chris Pine all day long. So casting-wise, the movie was fantastic. I love the action in the movie. Love the subterfuge with trying to figure out who Ares was, and his reveal was terrific. And I loved the origin that they had for Wonder Woman in this movie. Overall, I just thought it was really well done, really solid.
I will say that movie did a very good job at making me actually care about a character I really didn't care about.
You bet. Coming into the movie, right?
What? Yeah. I've talked about this so many times this episode, but I grew up with Justice League animated series, and Wonder Woman was like, oh, it's Wonder Woman. She's alright, but it was never like, I was never like, yeah, Wonder Woman.
Right.
And this one, I was like, you know what? I would watch another Wonder Woman film.
Yep.
I never thought I would say that. I thought I was going to go in and be like, ugh, okay. Because I kind of went in there to see where, like, because, you know.
See how it tied into the, at the time,
and
the other
then
DC films.
I was like, you know what? This is better than some of the other DC films that I recently have watched. So I was impressed. Yeah,
it's really good. Really good. So one that I think is easy to come back to, rewatch, and continue to enjoy. So that's number 18. Now, number 17 and 16, we're going to do a little back-to-back Russell Crowe action. Little Zeus theme here. Okay, our guy. Back in his prime. Sorry, Russ, but you're out of it. Out of the prime, that is. Not out of the game. You're still in the game. You're aging well. Keep doing what you're doing. Cinderella Man, number 17. Super unique title to a movie, okay? And it actually comes from a newspaper article about the main character of this movie, okay? So Russell Crowe plays Jim Braddock. This is based on a true story. So Jim Braddock, back in the 1920s, so Depression-era United States, was a boxer that had a promising early career, had some injuries, couple losses pile up on him. Eventually, his career seemingly petered out, but he managed to fight his way back into prominence, eventually winning a title. So it's an outstanding rags to riches underdog story. Just hits all the classic notes that you would want to see in a sports movie in particular, right? But Russell plays the main character. He's phenomenal. Let's see. Oh my goodness, who does the score here? I wish I could remember now. Oh, Ron Howard directs. That's right. He's fantastic. Paul Giamatti. There we go. I had to go to my notes here. Paul Giamatti plays Jim Braddock's trainer, and he is just a little firecracker in this movie. He is a fantastic pairing to Jim Braddock's more even-keeled, straight-laced dude. He's a bit off the wall. But if you haven't seen Cinderella Man, like it was probably an early 2000s movie. So if you're a sports movie person or just a, hey, good movie person, go check this one out. Cinderella Man, number 17. Number 16, this is the Russell Crowe flick. Freaking Gladiator. It's so good. Have you seen Gladiator?
I don't think I have.
Okay. I reamed Rex back in our fairway days for not having seen Gladiator. I'm not going to do that to you.
Appreciate
it's a little
it.
more forgivable because I think it came out like in 2000, 2001, so would not have been age appropriate for you at the time.
That guy likes movies?
I don't know what Rex likes. I don't know.
I hope someday he comes across just this little interaction.
Yep. Maybe Ben will share it with him. Maybe we'll get lucky. But anyway, listen. Gladiator doesn't depart from many of the Roman Empire era tropes, but it just excels, mostly thanks to Russell Crowe and his performance. And Joaquin Phoenix is the antagonist in this movie. And if it wasn't the first movie that Joaquin was in, it was the first one that took him from wherever he was to, oh, this dude's a big deal. Joaquin is nasty in this movie. Just insidious type evil. Just a bad, bad dude. But another, you could call it rags to riches, but another underdog story with tons of swords, tons of great fight scenes, an outstanding score. I want to see my guy Hans Zimmer did the score for this one. Feel pretty good about that pull. But terrific movie. And listen, is it a little older now? Of course, but it holds up exceptionally well. And I do remember at the time it was a big deal when they recreated the Roman Colosseum, because this is still in the early years of CGI doing exceptional things. But the movie looks fantastic. Looks great, sounds great. Go see it. So there's your 3 for this pod. Number 18, Wonder Woman. Number 17, Cinderella Man. Number 16, Gladiator. And
dang, we're halfway through.
I'll tell you what, we're at the halfway point. It's great. It's great. We'll come into the 15, 14, 13 camp on the next pod.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So, I think we've covered everything.
That's it, my man.
All right.
What a glorious pod. You got to go on vacation next week.
I know. I get to go to Florida.
Good for you.
To see the rents.
Yep.
So.
We won't be able to do an instant Thor reaction.
I figure, this is what I've been figuring. I'll go watch it with my dad in Florida.
Yes.
You watch it and then film yourself. And then I'll film myself with my father.
Love it.
And then you send your video to me via Google Drive.
Love it.
And then I will figure out if I want to tie them together or if we want to release them as separate videos.
That's great.
And I'll just make my dad sit there.
I love your commitment to excellence. Bring your dad in. Like, let him be a part of it. I'm going to go with Lindsay.
No, that's my plan.
So she's gonna have a chance to say some things.
Okay, I agree.
I don't know how well it's gonna go, but she's gonna say some things.
I'll be interested to see what my dad says.
Dude, I'm so excited. Happy for you. You're going to have a great vacation. But we're going to come back. You're going to come back, and we're going to have some great things to talk about. We're going to do a Thor deep dive. We're going to keep chomping away at these top 5 topics.
We might have a guest star for that.
Ooh.
Might have to have a guest star for that one.
Who you thinking?
I think you know who I'm thinking.
You wouldn't.
Our Thor guy. So
great.
Should we tell him now, and then when he hears this on Friday, he's like, I think he already probably knows, but
probably.
Our guy Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna bring him on for that one. I think we have to. I think it would be a crime against him if we didn't bring him in for that.
That's so much.
So
okay, great.
There you go, Soul.
Great.
You got 2 weeks to prep. You got 2 weeks to prep.
Yep. Do your homework.
Get ready to go.
Let's go.
So, yeah. On that note, follow us on YouTube at JP and the Beanstalk. Follow us on TikTok, Magic Beans Productions. If you like listening to me talk, which I can't blame you.
How can you not? How can you not?
I have another podcast that is not rated E for everyone. Rated R, probably. So, you can go check me out with my roommate. We post every week at Cloudy with a Chance of Beans. And I think I have plugged everything.
Way to plug it.
On that note, Godspeed.
Peace.